Oh my god, Jessie is actually doing a monthly wrap up. What the fuck? Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie and today I'm actually doing a monthly wrap up on my channel. When was the last time I did a monthly wrap up? Let's put the month and year right here. Yeah, unfortunately, I just don't like monthly wrap-ups, but it's one of my goals to actually get back into that this year. So we're starting halfway through the year with a June wrap-up. So if you see me like looking at my phone, it's because I actually use Notion, which is this like online, it's kind of like bullet journaling / Excel, but like you can like personalize it a lot. So I'm trying to use Notion to kind of keep track of like my TBRs and my wrap-ups and my year-long wrap-ups and everything. If you guys are curious about my Notion, I could try to figure out how to do a video and share that with you guys. But until then, I'm going to just pull up my Notion, which this is my dashboard right here. So we'll just get right into that. Should we do by star rating or should we go in like chronological order? I don't know, I'm so rusty and out of this. So for some stats, I had 0 DNFs, 0 1 stars, 0 2 stars, and everything else was 3 and higher. So I had 3 3 stars, 4 4 stars, and 1 5 star. I read 6 thrillers, 1 romance, and 1 contemporary. I know, I'm as surprised as you. I read 3 new releases and then 5 backlist titles. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm just going to start with chronological order. The first book I read was Insomnia by Sarah Pembroke. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This one is about a woman named Emma, I believe, and she is getting ready to turn 40 and she's not happy. She's very anxious about that. Not because of her getting older, but because her mother actually kind of went a little crazy, wasn't sleeping when she turned 40, and now she's doing a lot of the same things that her mother was doing, including not sleeping. And this one was just so good. I went into this one with kind of low expectations because if you didn't know, I was not a fan of Behind Her Eyes, which is her most popular, most well-loved book. So I kind of went into this one with low expectations, but I do like sleep. I just feel like Insomnia and like this whole like sleep like science behind it was kind of cool. Not that this one had a lot of the science behind it, but I just thought the whole like not being able to sleep was very, very intriguing, and I really, really enjoyed this one. So I would pick this one up if that does intrigue you, or if you like Sarah Pembroke's writing. I would compare this one a lot to His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Not with the plot, but as far as like the style of the book. The next book I have was the contemporary pick, which is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Surley. I'm not like the biggest person with like genres that aren't thriller or romances, but I'm not sure if this is like actually a contemporary, but that's what Goodreads says. This one follows a woman who is kind of grieving her mother because her and her mother, like she says that her mother was her one true love and that they were planning this trip to Italy because her mom was sick and they wanted to have one good trip. Also, her mother has always mentioned this Italian summer that she had when she was in her 20s and like they wanted to go back and relive. Unfortunately, her mother passed away, so she takes this solo trip to kind of like, I guess, like reconnect with her mother and like go through this grieving process. I ended up giving this one 4 stars and I really did enjoy this one. However, it is kind of misleading. For one of the very first topics that are in this book is our main character is like kind of suffering not only with grieving her mother, but like her marriage is kind of on the rocks. She talks about like after her mother passes away and how she loses her like one true love with her mom, that she kind of like doesn't know if she wants to be with her husband, which I find like, I get like you're grieving, but that's still very, very harsh. I feel like what actually happens on this vacation versus like what the book is trying to tell you is like, I don't know, it just wasn't what I was anticipating. However, I did really enjoy the book. Yeah, so I would pick this one up. Just know that what the synopsis says is not exactly what this book is about. So we'll just leave it at that. The next book I want to talk about is The Collective by Allison Galen. I picked this one up from a free little library of all places. I was super excited because I've heard Haley and Lena here on BookTube talk about this one, and you guys, this one was so good. It was a very different type of thriller in my opinion. I ended up giving this one like 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. This one follows a woman whose daughter was actually murdered, but people aren't thinking it's actually a murder, and the person that was supposedly the one that murdered the daughter kind of got off scotch-free. So she makes this really embarrassing scene, kind of goes viral on the internet, and yeah. But then a mother approaches her and gives her a card and says like, call me or join us. And so she finds this Facebook grieving club on Facebook and kind of like talks to other women who go through similar situations, but it's a lot more sinister because they're kind of like hitman and they're kind of getting a revenge. So I think if you're looking for like a good revenge story that's like very interesting and unique, I would highly recommend you pick this one up as well. The next one I picked up because I did enjoy the Sarah Pinborough book Insomnia. I went and picked up another backlist, which is Cross Her Heart from my local library, and I rated this one 3 stars. I feel like it was good. I definitely liked this one a lot more than Behind Her Eyes, but it wasn't anything new or special. Hadn't really heard anyone else talk about this one, but I knew I didn't want to read Dead to Her because I know I won't like that one. So this one follows a mother and a daughter, and the mother is like super protective of her daughter because shady past. I mean, what else is new? And something happens to where that past comes back to kind of jeopardize everything that the mother has worked for. So yeah, I think this one was just okay. I don't really have many thoughts about it. Like, it's just okay. I wouldn't recommend this one if you're looking for something unique, interesting, fast-paced, or anything like that. So yeah. All right, so now let's talk about my 1 5-star book, and it's my one of my favorite books I've read this year, and it is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. It's so weird. Like, I feel like this summer I'm going to start getting back into romances, but Book Lovers by Emily Henry is probably my favorite Emily Henry book. I would say People We Meet on Vacation, then Beach Read, and then my favorite would be Book Lovers. So this one kind of has a interesting plot. Like, I really don't even know how to describe the plot because I feel like there is no one main plot. I feel like there's a lot of plots that kind of make up the general plot, but I guess you can say our main character's name is Nora, and her sister is pregnant, and they both love this book that takes place right outside Asheville, North Carolina, which is actually pretty close to me, and I plan on taking a trip in September to Asheville. But her sister really wants to go down there while she's pregnant to kind of have like a nice summer with her sister, kind of rebond between each other, and also do a lot of things that happen in the book that they both love. While they're down there, she runs into a guy that she knows in the literary like world in New York because she's a literary agent, and it's a romance between them two, and it's super cute. I absolutely love this one, and yeah, highly recommend you pick this one up. All right, the next one I want to talk about is my Sleep When I'm Dead book club pick. I won't go into too many details because I have an entire live show with Ashley from Ashley's Little Library, but it was The Good Life by A.R. Torre. This one I ended up rating 4 stars. Highly recommend you check out the live show to find both of our initial thoughts and more spoilers and things like that. This one involves a doctor named Gwen Moore. She is a psychiatrist, and there is like this serial killer out there who's like kidnapping these teenage boys and basically like doing these horrific things to them, and one victim escapes. And so the psychiatrist, who specializes in like serial killers or like murder like tendencies, is hired by this like defense attorney who's trying to figure out like why this guy who escaped the Bloody Heart Killer is naming this particular teacher, because things don't add up. And so he kind of like hires her. It's kind of like a romantic thriller as well, because there is a little bit of a romance between the attorney and the psychiatrist. But But yeah, this one was a wild ride. I highly recommend you check out that live show to get more details. All right, the next one is actually just an audiobook, so I don't physically own the copy, but it is One Little Mistake by Lucinda Berry, and this was an Audible exclusive, so I think you can only listen to it on Audible, but if you listen to it at normal speed, it's only right over 2 hours, but I typically read my audiobooks at 2 times the speed, so you can easily get this done within a little over an hour. This one involves a mother who is married to this guy, and she's kind of having a rough time with being a mom. I also believe she's a stay-at-home mom, but she's kind of struggling, like, in general. And something happens to where she blacks out, apparently, but was driving with her kids in the back seat and gets pulled over for like a DUI. And so her kids get taken from her. Her husband is kind of being an asshole to her, and she's trying to figure out exactly what happened that made her black out to where she was driving under the influence. And this one was just a 3-star read. I actually kind of like buddy read it with Gwen, and I think Lena also listened to this book at the same time with us. So we discussed this book a little bit more into Gwen's live show, which was this past Sunday. She does a monthly wrap-up live show. So I definitely would go check that one out for more details about the books that I read for the month, but also about this one. This one was just okay. I feel like I'm not like a short story type of person. I feel like this one would have been better if it was a little bit longer, but like needed more details. Like I felt like it was, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it was too short, but like also it had enough details. I don't know. It was also like not anything new, and I also feel like it's not typically what Lucinda Berry writes, because it had nothing to do with like, you know, like childhood trauma, so it was kind of like out of her norm, but it was a free book and I got it done within an hour. The last book that I read for the month of May was The Missing by Kirsten Modulin, and I read this one. This was the only book that I read for the Thrill to the Weekend that's hosted by my friend Jacqueline. The reason why I was only able to participate with one book, my younger sister is actually getting married on June 25th, and this past weekend during Thrill to the Weekend was her bachelorette trip, so I was a little preoccupied, but somehow I got some reading done. This one was kind of interesting with my setting, because for my sister's bachelorette party, we were going on a boat out on the lake pretty much all weekend, and this one has to do with like a boat ride. So this one involves, I believe, 5 strangers who get on this boat, and something happens to where they're like, there's something wrong with the boat. We're going to have to drop off at this island and figure out what's going on. So they go to this island, everyone gets off the boat, and something happens to where the people who were controlling the boat actually leave them there stranded. So now you have a lot of secrets, a lot of lies going on the island. It's like, who can you trust? This one, I originally gave this one 3 stars, but honestly, I don't think that one is as good. I would say it's a 2.5, but I always round up my stars. So this one was just okay. I think one thing I've really realized about my reading taste is, like, recently I found out that I really don't enjoy fiction about cults. So I kind of feel like it's kind of overkill. And then recently, within the past few months, I feel like there's a lot of like island thrillers. So, and this one was another island thriller. I don't feel like it was the best one I've read. I would say if you are looking for an island thriller, I would pick up Reckless Girls by Rachel Hawkins. Yeah, this one makes me really sad because I really enjoy this author's writing, and unfortunately this is probably my least favorite that I've read by her. Actually, I take that back. This is probably my second least favorite. So alright guys, that is everything for this video. That is my monthly wrap-up. So let me know if you guys enjoy monthly wrap-ups, and if you do, I will try to keep more consistent with them. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know by giving it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on a future video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!